Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Sports Plug with my co-host Ishmael Sirian.
What up?
And
What
of,
up?
and of course, as you can see today, we have a very special guest joining us as always in beautiful sunny California. That man Dooley.
That man back at your services, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate you for for joining us today, and I appreciate everybody else for tuning in. As always, if you are checking everything out on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast. If you are checking things out on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page at the Sports Plug and hit that notification bell.
Ding.
Thank you, Ish. And also, we are on Twitch. So if you are on Twitch, please make sure you check out our live stream at the Sports Plug on Twitch. Now, first things first, as you guys are, of course, here as always to check out our Week 17 recap show. And I mean, to be completely honest, guys, Week 17 was everything that I thought it was going to be. It was great. It was
Everything
amazing,
and then some for me.
that, and then to cap off the night, and we will talk about this, of course, in next 30 to 45 minutes. The night game with the Washington football team and the Pittsburgh Eagles is something we'll definitely have to get into because there are a lot more people upset that are coming from the New York Giants side than from anyone else. But well, again, we'll definitely get into that real soon with my guys on the Sports Plug. And first things first, let's go ahead and talk about the Giants. Let's go ahead and talk about this game, the Giants and Cowboys. If you guys joined us on Sunday for our preview show, we picked the Cowboys to win this game, to be completely honest, because we had no faith in the Giants offense. But it seemed like Sterling Shepard had a vendetta against the Dallas Cowboys because he was out here balling like he ain't never balled before. So with that being said, of course, the Giants end up winning this game and beat the Cowboys. And at the time, because we all have to remember this was an early slate game. So when the Giants won, they had to wait for the Washington football team and the Eagles game to play. And instead of running down our regular run cast, we're going to go ahead and jump to that game after this game. So let's go ahead and talk about this right quick, guys.
Oh, might as well start first, man. I mean, what you guys got me on the show?
You the guest, Dooley. Come on, man.
You got me on the talk, okay? So this is how I feel about the New York Football Giants, okay? First of all, even be in the position to get into the playoffs, it's just goes to show you that because first of all, everybody had the Giants last in the season, in the division. Let's just be honest. Nobody had the Giants in the mix, but of course the division is so trash. So it's like if all you got to win is 5-6 games to get in the damn playoffs, most teams can do that in any division, right? In the NFL, right? But the Giants basically, what was on the table for them? By the way, you guys weren't wrong. I had the Cowboys winning too. Let me just say that first. I had Dalton coming out, Zeke playing.
It was there for him.
It was there for him. It was.
That's the Cowboys for you.
Exactly.
You know,
And I'll also say this, my bad to cut you off, Dooley. Reports are already in, and Jerry Jones did say that Mike McCartney will be back for next season. So he's not going anywhere. I've said it this whole year on our show that I thought Mike McCartney will be gone. That was one of the coaches I got wrong. All the other coaches seem like I got right, but the Mike McCartney one looks like he will be back as the Cowboys coach next season.
And I think that's a good job of Jerry Jones. Good job of signing the most overrated coach in the National Football League. Okay? So great job, Jerry Jones.
I should have known.
I knew that was coming, trust me.
Right. So now back to the New York Football Giants. I mean, let's just be honest. You wonder why Sterling Shepard came out to play? When you get a couple 100,000 G's bonus to make the playoffs, I'd be out there playing hard too, everybody. And the fact that if they would have, and the Redskins almost lost, the Washington football team almost lost, I mean, we could say if they had Jalen Hurts in the game, whatever, but the Giants knew they had to win to get in. They came to play. The Cowboys came to play too, but they just couldn't get the job done.
Now, speaking of incentives, like Dooley is saying, at the end of the season, you have certain players that are contract obligated to make certain yearly marks, and one of the incentives that Andy Dalton actually had was if he led the Cowboys to the playoffs, he got $1 million incentive bonus, and of course he lost out on that $1 million. Yes. So with that being said, of course we'll talk a little bit more about them in the future. Shout out to Weezy, says hello to future Mr. and Mrs. Von Wiesenthal. Thank you guys for checking out the show. And like I told you guys before, we're gonna go ahead and get right into the Washington football team and the Eagles game, because usually, of course, we like to keep everything in timely manner. But for this game, we're going to go ahead and jump right into this one, because the game prior to with the Cowboys had big implications on this game. If Washington football team won, of course, they were made it to the playoffs. But if the Eagles won, it actually helps the winner of the game that we just talked about. So like we said before, the Eagles had an opportunity to take away a game from the Washington football team. And if you're watching this game live, the way Jalen Hurts was playing before he got pulled out, it looked like he was going to be able to pull off a win against this Washington football team. Now, Dooley, I brought you on because this is your team, and watching this game yesterday with Jalen Hurts doing what he was doing, did you feel like Jalen Hurts was going to be able to pull off the upset?
Absolutely not.
Oh, come on, Dooley.
He definitely don't believe that. He don't believe that at all. But continue.
First of all, the boy had, I'm looking at the statistics. The man had 7 for 20 for 72 yards and 1 interception. Is that what you guys call a legendary game?
Did I say anything about legendary?
Well, when you said great, 7 for 20.
Who said great?
You said good.
That's what it is, right? 2 rushing touchdowns. 2 rushing touchdowns at one point in time. At one point in time, you had the lead. At one point in time, the Eagles had the lead against a guy that, again, don't only have one good leg. So again, the rushing touchdowns, that's something that Jalen Hurts was able to go against Alex Smith. But other than that, I'm not worried about that part of the rush part. I'm more worried about the Washington football team had an opportunity to put away the Eagles and show everybody, at least for the most part, hey, we do deserve a playoff spot. And to be completely honest, I did not see that at all in this game. And they are going to get their butt whooped against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
They suck, okay? They suck. They know they suck. You know, it's like when you know you suck, it's like just the morale in that locker room must be low. You know what I mean? Just imagine being in that locker room. You're getting into the playoffs 6-9. First of all, if I got into the playoffs at 6-9, I wouldn't be proud of it.
7-9.
7-9. I wouldn't be. That's nothing to be proud of.
Well, I feel the same way with Giants fans having a problem with what Doug Peterson did with pulling Jalen Hurts. And Ishmael, I want to hear you say. I want to hear your say about what happened with that situation, because I see a lot of Giant fans on social media upset about what happened, but again, you lost 10 games. You don't deserve to even be in the playoff mix in the first place. I'm not understanding this logic when it comes to why Giant fans feel this type of way about what Doug Peterson did, when maybe if you took care of your business, you wouldn't have to worry about the Eagles beating Washington football team.
Yeah, I mean, there's an old saying, where it says don't put the game in other people's hands, right? Like coaches always tell you that when
don't let the referees,
fans, don't let anybody else control, what's happening with the game. Like, you leave no doubt. And unfortunately for New York, they left a lot of doubt. Okay, they left a lot of doubt. 10 losses, that's what they had. All right, they didn't deserve to be in the playoffs per se, and I think one of their players even came out this morning and said they can only blame themselves.
And that was actually Logan Ryan, former Patriot and former Titan. That was Logan Ryan that said that, and he is correct.
He's correct. They lost 10 games. Also, what do I feel about Doug Peterson? Well, for one, I'm angry with Doug Peterson, not because of like the integrity of the game or any of that other nonsense, because at the end of the day, he can choose to do what he wants to do with his team. My only thing is, I picked the Eagles because I thought Jalen Hurts was going to be able to do some things. And then right when it looked like Jalen Hurts might help you win this game, you're going to pull him out and put in, old boy, I don't even know.
Nate Sudfeld.
You put him in and cost me my pick. I was about to get the pick right.
I 100% agree with you. It looked like it seriously looked like before he got pulled that Jalen Hurts was going to win this game, and I don't care about what the stats look like. I don't care about how Dooley feel about because I know that's his team, and he might feel like, oh, we was gonna win with Hurts or without him. But seriously, Jalen Hurts was going to win that game, and I'll say this, just like you said, Ish. People will feel some type of way about the integrity of the game and this and that and the third. We all have to remember MLB, NBA, and NFL are all businesses. Okay? So with that being said, there are a lot of business moves, just like we talked about and with the incentives, just like Antonio Brown getting 3 shovel passes to make sure that he get his 7 catches he needs, or other players out here getting their catches or runs or whatever that they need for incentives, because at the end of the day, it is a business, and that was a business move that Doug Peterson made.
And also, I would like to say, if you remember in the preview show, I said I would like to see it where they play all the games at the same time, because that will kind of stop.
This is 100% correct. This is 100% correct.
Stop people from doing what happened, right? If you're playing at the same time, yeah, you can look at the scoreboard, but you don't know anything past that. So if this was a personal attack on the Giants, which I feel like, if I'm an Eagles fan or whatever, I probably would have wanted to lose the game even more if it were the Cowboys. So, I mean, I don't know if Doug Peterson personally did it for the Giants, but I think either way, if we did this all at the same time, we wouldn't have to worry about one team potentially throwing the game so that another team doesn't get in.
I know that everybody in NFC East hates each other, and that's just how the division is, but I honestly don't think that the Eagles hate the Giants that much as much as they hate the Cowboys. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, I don't really feel like it was a blatant like, oh, we hate you Giants. Like, when I think of NFC East, I don't think of Philly and Giants rivalry. I don't. That's one of like the last rivalries that I even think of. I think of the Washington football team versus the Cowboys before I think of them as a rivalry. But anyways, that's here and there. Eagles, we'll see y'all next season. We'll see what happens, what y'all do in the off season. And also with the Carson Wentz situation, we'll definitely see what happens with what they do with that. And yeah, they kind of remind me with the Texans with their situation, how they got that going on. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, Steelers and the Browns. This is a very interesting game because besides the Steelers sitting a couple of their starters, this game not so much helped the Browns make it into the playoffs, but it also signed them their first way ticket to a first round matchup with the Steelers in Pittsburgh, though. So with the Browns winning by 2 this game, I've already talked about Mr. Old Faithful Adrian Lunford, and he has no problems when it comes to taking care of the Browns in Pittsburgh. The Browns don't even face Pittsburgh fans right now. So with that being said, Dooley, I'll hand it off to you. Should the Pittsburgh Steelers put a little bit more respect on the Browns' name coming into this playoff game? Because at the end of the day, we do know it's win or go home, and anything can happen, correct?
Absolutely. My man, the fact that the Browns are even in this game just shows you the poise of that team, of the coaching, just that whole franchise in general. You know, to lose Odell Beckham early in the season and say, you know what, Odell, we don't need you. We're going to do it without you. Okay, we're going to get to the playoffs. We're going to beat a team in our division to enter. And then next week, we're going to go to that same team's house and shove it up there, you know what. Okay, and that's what the Cleveland Browns are coming to do in Pittsburgh tomorrow. Okay, I mean, next week.
On Saturday. I got you. We got you.
Sunday.
Sunday
night.
Right? We'll have all the schedules and everything posted for you guys in the second after we run down the Week 17 games. We'll have everything posted for every postseason game.
I think I still don't know where I'm leaning on this game. Make sure you check out that preview show for the picks, but I do think that they should be somewhat scared, only because the Browns do have a top rush defense, and the Steelers are last in rushing offense. So that doesn't help you. And then when you got receivers who, in this game they performed okay compared to what they've been doing the past couple of weeks. So when you got receivers dropping balls, that's also something to be concerned about. Although the Browns' pass defense is not the greatest pass defense in the league, I would say that's their biggest weakness, and so it kind of plays into Big Ben's hands. The one thing that makes me still think, the Steelers probably got this, is going to be easy for the Steelers. Dude, they rested some of their starters, and it was only a 2-point
game. And you're at home too. Yeah, that's what worries me.
At home, and you knew what the stakes were. Like, they already made the playoffs. You playing to get in the playoffs, and you only managed to beat them by 2 points. Like, for me, if I'm a Browns fan, yeah, I'm feeling good, and I think I like our chances against the Steelers. But at the same time, I'm kind of feeling some type of way that we only managed to beat them by 2 points against Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph had 315 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns and an interception. That's not even Big Ben. So you're telling me on Sunday night, y'all going to be able to stop Big Ben from doing that? That's where, for me, I don't know, Browns. Y'all better pick it up.
No, let me just say something real quick. This is how they'll stop Big Ben. Like, didn't you say they had the worst rushing offense, the Steelers?
Oh, yes. Right? Oh, yes. Okay.
So, and would you not call the Browns a decent rushing team? Chubbs, Hunt, Baker.
Yeah.
They're a decent rushing team. I haven't looked at the numbers, but my guess is the Browns are top 15 in rushing.
Oh, no, they top 3. They're top 3.
I knew it. So, the key is getting time off the clock. I don't believe Big Ben is going to sling his way back and forth down the field if Baker and them don't give him time. Because first of all, Big Ben's offense is overrated. Let me just say that right now. The receivers are overrated.
I agree with that statement. I
100%. The best receiver over there, and Juju is overrated. Okay, and that's my boy out of Cali, but he has not done what he's supposed to have done ever since Antonio Brown left. To have only 100 receiving yard game, and this man hasn't played in the Pittsburgh Steelers uniform for over 2 years. That's a disgrace. If you're talking about the main guy on
the number one receiver, yes.
So I think it's going to come down to time management on the game clock. If Baker can somehow lean and stay on the field, keep Big Ben off the field, the Browns could win, man.
And I'll wrap it up with what I have to say right quick before we go on to the next topic. The Browns, with them being able to make it to the playoffs, is their first playoff appearance since 2002. The last time the Browns won a playoff game was in 1994. Do you guys know who the head coach was at that time for the Browns?
Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick, yeah.
Yes, sir. And with that being said, of course, this is also the first time that a Bill Belichick team has missed the playoffs with the Patriots, dating back since 2000. So that just goes to show you, of course, how great Bill Belichick's reign has been. It also goes to show you how long the Browns have suffered, for a very, very long time. So I'll say this: when it comes to the Browns, and Ishmael kind of didn't agree with me, and the reason why I say it's a successful season for the Browns is because nobody expected the Browns to win 11 games. You feel me? So nobody expects the Browns to win the Super Bowl. But what I will say is you can at least build off of this season and going towards next year, because they're not going to win this game. But they do have the recipe to be able to pull off of the upset because they are a divisional team. They can control the clock with their running game. And to be completely honest, the Steelers as an offense have the fourth, and I've saw it myself, they have the fourth worst rushing offense in their team history. This is a Pittsburgh Steelers team franchise that is built on rushing the ball, and they cannot rush the ball. That's something that worries me going into the playoffs. And they also drop too many passes, receivers and tight end, Eric Ebron. So with that being said, most likely weather might be a fact. We have to wait and see what happens this weekend. But if the Browns come in and play a good game, I would not be surprised at all if the Browns pull off the upset against the Steelers. But we'll have to wait and see who we pick, who Ish and I pick on a pregame show this Saturday. So
yeah, I'll take the Browns. Right now.
We'll have to wait and see. All right, Falcons versus Buccaneers. to be completely honest, I loved this game for the Buccaneers moving forward because, I think for at least a week, it quiets the doubters of Tom Brady and his team who he has around him, because for the last 3 to 4 weeks, I mean, they've put 40 spots on people now. And I feel like their defense still needs to come together a little bit more. But we also have to remember as well, these are against non-playoff teams. When they are playing against teams that are playoff teams, they are 1-5. So that still does worry me. Dooley, they do play against your Washington football team in the first round. So let's go ahead and start it off with you on how you feel about not this game and also the first round matchup with your Washington football team.
Yes. I would love to sit here and tell you that my boys had a chance, but they don't. Okay. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to come for blood. They're going to come to win. And I actually have them getting all the way to the NFC Championship at the least. I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Brady found his way back in the Super Bowl. You know, I wouldn't be surprised at all. First of all, I just want to bring up some statistics from the game the other night. For God's sakes, AB had 11 receptions for 138 yards, 2 TDs. Chris Godwin had 5 receptions for 133 yards. My man, these aren't even the main receiver on the team is Mike Evans. But guys, you got this offense rolling on all cylinders. Gronkowski, the defense stepping up. I'm here to tell you, my guys, that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a very dangerous team. And I would not want to run into them in the playoffs. Okay? And I don't give a damn who they run into. I don't care if it's the Packers. Tom Brady wins in cold weather. He'll go to Lambeau. Please. What Lambeau?
We'll talk about that shortly. I'll let you finish.
Okay. And you know, so the Buccaneers, they pretty much showed that they can win it all, and they showed that weeks ago. You know, in my opinion. You know. But even though it came down to they were only 11-5. They could have finished 10-6. You know what I mean? You know, so still snuck in at 10. Would they have made the playoffs at 10-6?
It would have been. Let me see.
No,
they probably would have made it. The Rams were 10-6. The Bears at 8-8. So I mean, they would have been fine.
Yeah. Okay.
They would have either had the 6 or the 7 seed, depending on who's in front of them.
Right.
Ish.
You know, I don't have much to say about this game. I already knew how it was going to go. I disagree with Dooley from the standpoint of that they've shown for weeks now that they could go and win the Super Bowl. I don't believe that. I think that the past 2 weeks have been the weeks where they've actually come together as an offense and kind of proven a little bit more that they are an offense equipped. We knew they had the weapons, but we hadn't seen it gelled and working the way that it is working now. And I think now that's a team to be scared of. The only question is going to be, is this defense going to be able to stop Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, or potentially Drew Brees and the Saints? That's depending if like Mike Thomas comes back, stuff like that. But yeah, the defense is going to be the question. I don't think anybody's questioning this offense, the weapons or the pieces, or even the chemistry now. I think the question all comes down to, will this defense be the kind of defense that can take you to a Super Bowl? And that's to be seen.
I just want to piggyback on everybody talking about Mike Evans right quick. Mike Evans is fine. He did get hurt in that game. He hyperextended his knee. He will be fine to be ready to go for the playoff game. He also is the only wide receiver in NFL history to start 7 straight seasons with 1,000 yards receiving. That right there in itself is pretty effing remarkable. I know it's a family show. I try to keep it, keep the cussing down low. So that right there it comes from a Texas boy. That came from our class, our class of receiver group, Ishmael. So shout out to Mike Evans on that one. And for the most part, I will say with this about the Buccaneers, I do believe in them. But like Ish said, if they have to run into the Saints, they did not beat them in the regular season. If you have to run into Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau, this is not Tom Brady that has been playing in 2 months Foxborough weather, getting ready to play again in Green Bay. This is Tampa Bay, and everybody's been in Tampa enjoying that weather over the last 8 months. So I understand where you're coming from. You are correct. Tom Brady can do it in cold weather, but can the rest of the team do it as well?
Right. That's fair.
That's what we have to wait and see.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right, let's go ahead and get on to this game. Honestly, ain't really too much to talk about. The Jets and the Patriots. I will say I was wrong because I thought the Patriots were going to have a lackluster performance like they have been all doing all year long, but they finished the season strong, beating the Jets 28-14. If you have anything to say about this one?
Nope, pretty much went how I thought it was going to go. Bill Belichick wasn't about to lose to the Jets.
Dooley?
Not really.
I understand. Let's
go. No quarterback. That's about all I have to say.
Let's go ahead and move on to the next one because Jets and Patriots get ready for that all season, and we'll see y'all next year. All right, Vikings and Lions. This game, again, pretty much went the way that it should have went, and both of these teams are playing for nothing. No playoffs for both of these teams, and honestly, good for both of them because they don't deserve it, especially the Vikings, wasting all that money on Kirk Cousins, and the Lions for getting rid of Jim Caldwell for Matt Patricia. So, y'all suck. Anybody else?
Yeah, nah.
Alrighty then. Let's go ahead and, excuse me. Let's go ahead and get into the Lamar Jacksons and against the Cincinnati Bengals. You like that, huh? Yes. So Lamar Jackson, of course, took care of the Cincinnati Bengals 38-3. I will say this. I want to talk about this with you, Ishmael. We talked about in the pre-show. We wanted to see more passing highlights instead of rushing highlights from Lamar Jackson. We asked and we received, sir. His first 2 touchdowns was in the air. The first touchdown he threw was a very beautiful 40-plus yard bomb in the air. Nice pass, kind of like Justin Fields in the semifinal game, correct? The second game, threw it to a wide-open Hollywood Brown. Threw it a little low. Not going to nitpick because people say I'm hating, but I'm just saying threw it a little low to a wide-open Hollywood Brown. So Lamar is trying to, of course, establish that passing game, and I understand. But now the real test comes this weekend against the Tennessee Titans.
So I will say that I agree with you from the standpoint of we did see a little bit more from him with the arm. I like that. I appreciated that. What I want to say to you, saying that this is the real test, I actually think they lucked up with this matchup because this Titan defense is horrendous. This Titans defense, I don't know if they stop anybody. I put my daughter out there, she might run for 200 on them. So I'm a little concerned about this matchup from a Oilers standpoint because this is not the same defense that you had last year. This is a totally different defense. It is a worse defense. And it may end up in Lamar Jackson leading his team to his first playoff victory. I don't know if I feel that way entirely yet. I'm not 100% sold on it. I still want to watch a little bit more film on that and see what I'm thinking the game plan might be. But I do think that, from a Baltimore standpoint, you probably like this matchup more than any of the other matchups you could have had.
Dooley?
My man, I knew your whole soliloquy in the beginning was to go back to this matchup this weekend. Okay. So just so you know, what I didn't know was that Tennessee defense sucks this year.
It does.
So, they rode Henry to the playoffs, which we expected, So
can I stop you right there? I'm sorry. Because you hold up. These are two young, fine African brothers that know their football, and for you, Dooley, for you to say that we rode our horse on Derrick Henry, I'm gonna need everybody to stop saying that because we have not one, but we also had another. We also had 2 1,000-yard receivers. Corey Davis missed 1,000 yards by 16 yards. We also had Juno Smith.
You had
that's fine, and that's perfectly fine. What I'm saying is this offense is not just Derrick Henry because if it was just Derrick Henry, because I saw this offense be just Derrick Henry 2 years ago, we would be 9-7 and barely making the playoffs like we did with Mariota. Right. I've seen this script before. This is a completely different offense, but I'm gonna let you finish. So. Yeah,
it's a completely different offense because Derrick Henry is now a 2,000-yard back. That is why it's a completely different offense. And my point is this: you stop Henry, those receivers on the back end mean nothing. That's what I'm saying. So if you come out and you stop Henry, the Baltimore Ravens are winning that ball game.
Wow, very disrespectful. Very disrespectful. I'll say this: I'm taking I'm taking the Titans wide receiver core before I take the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think I agree with that. Maybe. Yeah.
I take it again. You have Juju, that's a number 2, trying to be a number 1. Chase Claypool is not a number 1. And then you got Washington, who's a number 2 that can't catch the ball. And you got Eric Ebron, who can't consistently catch the balls. But again, if y'all want to take Pittsburgh because of the name, that's y'all more than welcome to do that. Anything else? Anybody else got something?
Oh. Yeah, no, nothing else.
No, we ready for the Ravens and Oilers game.
Oh yeah. Oh no, we're ready because we want to see if this Tennessee team, because their defense last year was much better. Matter of fact, you could argue, despite the fact they didn't win the division last year, you could argue they were a better team last year.
That's I agree.
But
you telling me things I know, sir.
Right. So Baltimore arguably was a better team as well, though, last year. So it's like, let's see how it all matches.
I agree. No, I agree on everything saying. I honestly feel like the Ravens might be a little better this year all around. Last year, I think they were successful because of the hype and success of Lamar, and it translated throughout the team. This year, we know what Lamar can do, but we need our defense to come along. Now that the defense has come along, now the offense is getting right where at the right time, and they look good compared to last year. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good luck to your Titans, boss.
We'll be fine. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the Buffalo Bills against the Miami Dolphins. And to be completely honest, this was more like a sushi fest. They cut up to these dolphin tails and made some sushi out of the Dolphins where they killed them by 30 points. The Buffalo Bills put up a 56 spot on the Miami Dolphins. And
speak for your boys, X.
Hey, to be honest with you, I feel like the Dolphins might have did something to their moms or their girlfriends before this game because the Buffalo Bills put it on them personally. Like, I don't know what happened, but did the Dolphins say something to y'all, Buffalo? Like, what's going on? I need to know because I knew the Bills were going to win, but as you can see, I picked the Bills, but I ain't got nothing to say on this one, though, honestly. I really don't.
I mean, I have something to say. The Buffalo Bills are not the Buffalo Bills of old. They're the Buffalo Bills of new, and they're letting everybody know we're the real deal. And who does Buffalo play this weekend? Who do they play? Because good God, I don't give a damn.
They're playing the Colts.
They're playing the Colts at home.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing the who?
They're playing the Colts at home.
It don't matter because it's a win.
It's very true.
Okay. The Colts. Yeah, I like Buffalo in that matchup. The Colts barely made the playoffs. The Colts still trying to figure it out. Good job. They had a good record. Phillip did his thing, but Phillip is not proven. And Phillip is also one of my favorite quarterbacks, but he just does not know how to get it done in the playoffs.
Because he's a bum.
So I'm going to have to ride with the young buck in Josh Allen. And it's in Buffalo, I'm guessing, right?
Yes, sir.
It's really finished. The Colts don't play outside. Good job. They're done. Bills 28, Colts 6.
Okay.
6.
I'm not gonna go that far and make my.
Yeah, we're gonna wait till Saturday to do the picks.
But I do want to say that I agree with you, Dooley, that the Buffalo is not the Buffalo of old. I'm just a little saddened that X didn't speak up a little bit more for his boys that he thought were going to beat the Bills for the AFC East, because the Bills came out here and let it be known who runs the AFC East. And I also think that they came out and they declared themselves the second best team in the AFC. I think that they have distanced themselves like we thought the Steelers and the Chiefs earlier in the season. I think the Bills and the Chiefs have distanced themselves from the rest of the pack. I think it's the two teams, the Bills and the Steelers, the Bills and the Chiefs, and then everybody else. That's just how I feel.
I respect it.
See the Ravens versus the Bills, just for the record. I love to see Lamar versus the Bills. We need to see that.
For what? So Lamar can lose another playoff game? Like, what do you want to see that for?
Hold on. Josh Allen and them.
What?
They lost their first game last year too, didn't they?
Yes, they lost to the Texans last year. Josh Allen was out here trying to flip the ball back to people and stuff.
Yeah, right. And Lamar had a bad game throwing against the bum.
But they didn't have Stephon Diggs.
He didn't have no bum game. He had a. From last time I checked, everybody at Raven fans want to talk about how his 400 yards, all-purpose yards, are so great. If they were so great, it should have translated to a win.
It's good.
So again, I'm tired of the excuses for people. I really am. All these yardage and all this and all that, like shut up and go get a win, like this guy did, Aaron "Dat Man" Rodgers. You know plenty about him, "Dat Man" Dooley, when it comes to being a bad man. And of course, the Packers took care of the Bears like they normally do. And just a little fun fact: the Packers have never lost a season-ending game to the Bears. So ending the season, if they play the Bears. They have not lost ever. Yeah. So wow. I went ahead, took the odds on that one, picked the Packers to win that game. And we're going to get into the playoffs shortly and talk about that. But I will say this. On the NFC side, to be completely honest, it's the Packers. I know we talked about a little bit about Tampa Bay and stuff, but it's the Packers conference to lose, especially with everything running through Lambeau. If Aaron Rodgers is not able to make it to a Super Bowl this year, I'll be honest with you, man. We might not be able to see him in another Super Bowl, just because of the parity of the NFC. We've seen the last 3 or 4 years, there's been different teams, right? So the Green Bay as a franchise, it seems like it doesn't want to help Aaron Rodgers get to the pinnacle every year. And now that he's finally back, will it be the last time we get to see him play? In the Super Bowl, I'm sorry.
In the Super Bowl?
Yes.
I don't know that they're going to make the Super Bowl, but I think that they did exactly what they needed to do in winning this game, because if you're a Packers fan, if you're a part of the Packers organization, if you're Aaron Rodgers, you want the NFC to go through Lambeau. And they succeeded in getting that done here. I would argue, though, Lambeau has lost that mystique. I don't think Lambeau is as scary as people want to make it out to be, as it used to be. But I do think that playing in that cold weather will help them, just from the standpoint of the teams that are, I think, their closest contenders, the Saints and the Buccaneers, are not teams that you traditionally think of going to play up north and win some of these games where it might be a full-on, snowstorm or whatever. So from that standpoint, they did exactly what they needed to do. I still have concerns about this defense. I don't necessarily think this defense is a championship caliber defense. I think that they're a good defense, but I don't think they're championship caliber. And I fear if they have to play Tampa Bay. I fear what happens against that offense. I also fear what happens against the Saints if they got to play them. Alvin Kamara, we got to remember, he just had a huge game. It looks like he's starting to hit the stride that he needs to hit. And they did that without Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas still has to come back. So that Saints offense isn't some offense to disqualify. I think that, I like what happened here in this game. The Bears still made the playoffs. I think the Bears can make some noise potentially. They got a tough matchup against the Saints, but that defense, I don't know if I necessarily discount that defense. So we'll have to wait and see.
Dooley?
Yeah, Rodgers only won it. First of all, he's my guy, but he runs a great offense. But the year he won it, let's not forget, he also had a great
defense. Is correct.
He hasn't quite had that defense ever since. Yet he hasn't been able to get his team over the hump based off his own arm and his offense, which we've seen quarterbacks do. We've seen Peyton Manning, quarterbacks of Rodgers' caliber, take teams to the Super Bowl based off the offense. Rodgers hasn't been proven to do that. So with the defense not playing as well, then you add Green Bay has lost its mystique, especially without the fans. Let the fans be there first before we really call the place Lambeau. But yes, it is going to be freezing cold. But also going back to Drew Brees, Rodgers, and Brady, the top 3 quarterbacks when it comes to legend in the NFL right now. Those 3 are the top 3 legends still playing professional football. Okay, Rodgers, Brees, Brady. There's only one of them that have gone to multiples. For God's sakes, Brees and Rodgers' whole career, can you believe they've only been to 2 Super Bowls combined? Won them, but just 2 it doesn't sit right with me. They're just too great. But it just goes to show you that for those types of quarterbacks, you need an elite defense. Tom Brady doesn't always get in with an elite defense. Tom Brady's out of his 9 Super Bowls,
Some years he has a great defense. Some years he doesn't have a great defense in the Super Bowl.
Majority of years he have a pretty good defense,
every
but
year
that's
he has
saying
Bill
that's
Belichick.
that you in that too.
He has a
So
defense.
again, we can discuss that another time. But yeah, I got you.
Okay.
I got you though. But
yeah,
yeah,
so-
we can definitely say Bill Belichick is a defensive mastermind that helps them get to the Super Bowl every year. We can definitely say that because that's
Right.
true.
Going back to Romeo Crennel, Charlie Weiss, and all those types of.
We'll go with Belichick. We're not putting Charlie Weiss in there. We'll do it. No, we're not doing that. Nope.
Romeo
Nope.
Crennel, defensive coordinator. Give the black guy some credit. Thank you. So now
I'll give it to Todd Bowles before I give it to Roman Cornell, but continue. And Herm Edwards. Continue.
okay, so he sucked as the Browns head coach. Let
He
him go.
sucks as a Texans head coach too.
Okay, yeah, he's not head coach material, but
At all.
It's okay. Don't disrespect his coordinatorship.
He's a head sandwich maker.
Okay,
You know,
He can make a hell of a sandwiches.
looking
Thank
like
you.
Andy Reid twin,
Boy, shit.
just like Andy.
Hey.
please
Hey,
stop.
shout out to Kirk Jones checking out. He said, props out to the sports plug. I'm a first time listener. I will be tuning in. I appreciate that, Kirk.
Appreciate that.
Kurt.
Thank you for tuning in. And we'll go ahead and get back to the West Coast. Seahawks versus 49ers. Seahawks, hey, they were slipping a little bit in the beginning of this game. The 49ers had a nice 10-point lead over the Seahawks at one point in time. And I really thought the 49ers were going to be able to pull it off. But as we know, Danger Russ went ahead and did what he did and took care of this game and ended up winning 26-23. And with this type of win, do we feel like the Seahawks could get some type of momentum moving forward? Because the same way we talked about with Aaron Rodgers when it comes to moving the ball without having a great defense, it's kind of the same way with Russell Wilson as well in Seattle. The only reasons why Russell Wilson's been able to make the Super Bowl is because he's had great defenses, correct? This is his first time to be able to prove to everybody that he can do it on his own. And that was happening. That was what was going on in the beginning of this regular season. Everybody was saying this is a new Russ. Russ is cooking. You know, he was throwing 20 touchdowns, no interceptions. A lot of that stuff calmed down. Now Russ can be able to, bring his troops into battle in this playoff battle that he's done for the last 5, 6, 7 years. But now with a crew that's looking at him for advice, the next step, what we got to do moving forward, because that just 5 years ago, he was looking at LOB. He was looking at Marshawn Lynch. He was looking at those veteran guys that was on the Seattle Seahawks team at that time for leadership. Now it's on Russ. So it'll be very interesting to see the Seahawks going to the playoffs and Russell Wilson leading the way.
Yeah, I agree. But I think you just totally overlooked the fact that, bro, they gotta get past that first round matchup against their divisional foe, the Rams. I mean, I understand they beat the Rams in week 16, 20-9, but I think that had more to do with the Rams' lack of offense or their, their up and down kind of nature. And rather than, that Seahawks defense really coming out and making a statement. So I'm a little bit more concerned about this first round matchup for them. You still got Aaron Donald to deal with. You still got Jalen Ramsey out there locking up DK Metcalf. So my question is going to be, are they going to be able to get through the first round? Do we really see them doing what they need to do to get past this Rams? Because although the Rams didn't finish the season so strong, they still have an elite defense that I would say if you had a better offense on the Rams, we might be talking about the Rams being up there competing for the NFC Championship.
One thing I will say before we get to you, Dooley, right quick. We talked about home field advantage, especially in the NFC. Dooley, you said that Lambeau isn't what Lambeau is without the fans. I agree, but I disagree because at the end of the day, the difference between Lambeau and New Orleans, if they were to play everything in New Orleans, is that what makes the Superdome is the fans. What makes Lambeau Field is the weather. So with that being said, what I'm saying is that, yes, you are correct that Lambeau probably does not have the same mystique as it used to with Brett Favre and early Aaron Rodgers. But because of a team like Tampa Bay going to Green Bay, or even Seattle having to go to Green Bay, or of course New Orleans. Think about Drew Brees with his 11 ribs over the last 6 weeks, having to breathe in and out that 30, 25 degree weather for 3.5 hours. I think again that's something that we will have to pay attention to moving forward. My bad to cut you off, Dooley.
It's okay. I mean, and we're just gonna have to see because once again, if Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if that matchup happens, the Pack don't want that. The Pack does not want that to happen.
I want to see it. We gotta wait and see it.
They don't want the poise of Tom. I see Breeze going to Lambeau. Breeze, yeah. Breeze, as great as he is, I don't see him going to Lambeau and beating Rodgers. He's not that great. Now, Sir Thomas, that's a different conversation. But earlier you had made a statement bringing up, Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers in the same sentence, But I get where you were going with that as far
I mean, hold on. Is that disrespectful? Are you saying I'm disrespectful for doing this?
Oh, that is disrespect.
Explain.
Absolutely.
Explain.
Rodgers level.
Russell Wilson has been to two Super Bowls. Aaron Rodgers had been to one. Just like you said, it make you feel type of way that Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees only been to two. Russell Wilson has been to two, sir.
Hold on.
He should have won two if they would have ran the damn ball.
Russell Wilson had arguably the best defense of all time.
That's understandable. Continue. That's 85 Bears, but continue.
Number two, they didn't get there because of his arm. Rodgers got there because of his arm, his dominant offense, and a great defense. Russell got there because of a dominant defense and a running game. Russell Wilson didn't sling nobody anywhere. Let's get there. So when you put Russell Wilson in the same conversation with Aaron Rodgers, blasphemy. It's just blasphemy.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
I respect ish.
There's an argument that could be made. Like you said, he's been to two Super Bowls, but I do kind of agree with Dooley in the sense that, bro, the running game up until this year, they have not allowed Russ to cook like we've seen Russ cook this year. Now, if he makes it to the Super Bowl this year, you may say they got there because of Russell Wilson, Russell Wilson, as opposed to previously, I would have said they got there in spite of Russell Wilson, because I think that he just managed the team to get there. I don't think that he did anything spectacular those 2 years they made the Super Bowl. So
Trent Dilfer could have ran the season.
Relax. We're not doing that. Relax. No, we're not doing that. You being disrespectful. We're not doing that, Dooley.
Okay. The 2000 Ravens that won the Super Bowl had arguably another top defense in NFL history.
Yes, that's
maybe
very true.
even better than the Seahawks. Trent Dilfer ran them. The offense wasn't great. He managed the game. They won the damn Super Bowl.
Russell Wilson, Trent Dilfer. We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
And somebody else could have won the game.
Dooley, we going
Super Bowl besides
we going to the next topic because we're not doing it. We're not doing this. You being real disrespectful right now. In the words of my friend Gregory Turner, respectfully, you being real disrespectful. Okay, we're not doing this.
Matt Ryan could have won it with them. With the Seahawks.
Well, Matt Ryan also had a damn 20-point lead in the Super Bowl and lost that shit. So that's another story for another day.
To the same Sir Thomas Brady that Russell Wilson lost to? Oh, okay, continue.
Anyways, also Kirk Jones says he's a Washington football team, longtime fan. He says he's old school. So hey, dude, you got you another Washington football fan out here in these streets. So
Yep.
Y'all out here. Y'all out here.
Follow me, Kirk. That man Dooley, baby.
Let them know. Shout it out.
Yes, sir.
All right, Cardinals versus Rams. This was the other NFC West matchup. All the Cardinals had to do, win and get in. But Ish and I talked about it in the pregame show. He felt like, and also I felt as well, Rams were not the Cardinals were not going to be able to put it all together and win. And unfortunately, Kyler Murray did get hurt, limped off the field. And that that ultimately was their demise when it comes to losing this game, because without Kyler Murray, their offense was pretty stagnant. And even the Rams had to start their backup quarterback and ended up pulling out this win 18-7. With this, I want to say, is the Cardinals' season, is it a disappointment? Is it something to build off? Like how do we judge this 8-8 season with the Cardinals because of all of the hype that came in with DeAndre Hopkins, with everything that they brought in with this season? How do we rate this Cardinals season?
I rated a good season. First of all, your young quarterback Kyler Murray still gave it to the best receiver in the league. Yes, I said it. I'll say it again. The best receiver in the National Football League. DeAndre. The man who drops nothing. The man who'll catch it with his eyes blindfolded.
I agree with that.
You can't beat that. Not even with speed and height. You can't beat a man that will catch the ball blindfolded. Anyways, so you got Kyler Murray, the young quarterback, poised, bright future. This season was definitely not a waste. I see a bright future for the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler and DeAndre are figuring it out together. They're meshing. I see the chemistry. Oh, Ish, stop. What you looking at me like that for, Ish?
Let them know, Ish. Let them know.
Go ahead.
I am here right now on January 4th, 2021. I'm calling for my man's job. What's his name? Cliff Kingsbury?
Cliff?
Gotta go. Bro,
you taking Cliff Bar out of the...
Gave Anthony Lynn, who had a 12-4 season with the Chargers, you're going to fire him in L.A. after 2 seasons, after 3 seasons or so. You're going to let Cliff Kingsbury, this team, they should be disappointed. This is a poor season. They should be disappointed. They should have made the playoffs. They lost games that they should not have lost, and that is the reason why they should be completely disappointed. Man, can we just talk about, let me just look through this real quick. They lost to the Lions, the Detroit Lions. They lost that game.
That's a bad loss. That's a bad loss right there.
They lost to the Carolina Panthers, 31-21. Aren't you looking stupid now? They lost to the Miami Dolphins, which at the time they were playing well.
That's a good loss. That's a good loss.
Fine. The Seahawks, that's fine. They lost to the New England Patriots, which I would argue is the loss that put them out of the playoffs, because we talked about it that week.
We did.
They needed to go in there and handle their business. That's a
and
game.
They did not.
If you're a playoff team, and they did not, and they are not a playoff team. This is a disappointing season. Some of those losses that we just went through, the Patriots, the Panthers, that is inexcusable. I am sorry. Cliff
Can I also say something as well? If it wasn't for that Hail Mary catch from DeAndre Hopkins, they also should have lost to the Bills.
You're going to lose another one. So, I mean, come on, man.
So they really probably could have been 7-9, and not even been in playoff contention in the first place, but they ended up
which there's nothing
final record?
8-8.
Oh, come on.
8-8.
They didn't have a dominant defense. They have a young quarterback. What?
You pay. Okay, first of all, you have a pretty decent defense. You paid all that money to Budda Baker in the offseason. You also draft Isaiah Simmons, who is one hell of a defensive player for Clemson, and he to me was supposed to be their Tyrann Mathieu, but a little bit of bigger size when Tyrann Mathieu was there for the Cardinals. And also, you still have Patrick Peterson. So let's not disrespect that Cardinals defense. That Cardinals defense comes to play every damn year, and that's a good defense. So again, we're not going to act like the Cardinals did not have weapons on both sides of the ball. I feel like it came down to lack of experience, mainly from the coaching side, and also. This is honestly, Ish, and I know you might be mad at me for saying this, but this is a good year for them to learn from this year moving forward. They're not going to get rid of Cliff Kingsbury. This is Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray.
Mediocre in college.
I agree with you, but guess what? We don't pay the coaches, we don't pay the coaches or pick the coaches. So what I'm saying is
what they can expect moving
Arizona
forward.
have no problems with being mediocre because over the last 15 years, they at least went to a Super Bowl. They can hang their hats on that. They have a new, not a new stadium, but they have a stadium that people actually, not besides care to come watch, but they have money bring in from college and, of course, the pro games. What I'm getting at is the Cardinals are okay with waiting their opportunity to make a Super Bowl run in the next year or two. What I'm saying is they're not worried about this year because they know that they can go to the Super Bowl in 2 or 3 years because it's actually happened with them with Kurt Warner and Larry Fitzgerald.
Cliff Kingsbury need to go.
And
that was what I got from
We'll see what Lee has to say about it. He says, I 100% agree with Ish. They needed to make the playoffs to prove anything to lose with Patrick Peterson, Larry Fitz, Kenyon Drake, and 3 starting offensive linemen in free agency next year. I feel like they will downgrade unless they somehow pull in major free agents. And also, I was going to say that about Larry Fitzgerald as well. Let's make sure that we also give a silent clap to the OG Larry Fitzgerald. He is retiring after 17 seasons. Easily, he will be a second ballot Hall of Famer, because if T.O. is not a first ballot Hall of Famer, then that means Larry Fitzgerald should not be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I said it here on the Sports Plug. I do not care how anybody feels about it. That is just how the Hall of Fame want to be hoes, and I'm gonna continue to be a hoe because you're not gonna let Larry Fitzgerald in first and not let T.O. in. But continue.
Let's move on.
Alrighty then. Hoe ass Hall of Fame. Anyway, they gonna see me. Hall of Fame gonna see me when he's. What's up?
Okay, no. I had a comment, but we can move on.
You good. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about this Titans and Texans game right quick, and we'll go ahead and move on to the other AFC South game with the Jags and Colts. This game was a little bit closer and tighter than I thought and wanted it to be, but that is just how the Titans play when they want to play with my emotions towards the end of the seasons, and they got through the Texans in a nail biter. And I'm going to give y'all a quick little story time right quick. It's going to take me about a minute to tell y'all this story. So I'm at the Houston Texans and Titans game yesterday with my beautiful fiance. And
I saw you waving the flag.
Of course, I had to represent. And at the time that the Texans kicked the field goal to tie the game at 38, I needed to go use the restroom. So I told myself, it most likely we're going to overtime because this is some bull crap. And we're going to go ahead and go use the restroom and come back. I go to the restroom. And, of course, if you've been in any major stadium or whatnot, you know that they have TVs and the announcements going on while you're in the restroom. So I'm using the restroom, and all of a sudden I hear a pass thrown from Ryan Tannehill to A.J. Brown. Now the Titans are in field goal range. I run from the restroom. I slip in the restroom and bust my ass. Oh, I have the bone bruise to prove it. And that's not the funny thing. The funny thing is this.
That is the funny thing.
This is the funny thing. I did not expect anybody in that restroom at that point in time to know who I was until I heard, "Damn, X, I saw that."
Oh, wow.
I turn around and I look and I see it's one of my good friends I play high school football against with. And I used to work out with him, with my boy Vince or whatnot. And for him to be that guy that see me fall and bust my ass, of course, the one guy in Houston that actually knows me, is 6 million people in here in Houston, but all of a sudden the one person in the one restroom in the one section in Houston, the Houston Texans NRG Stadium, he knows who I am. It was a humbling experience because once I got back up, I went outside and I saw, because I was in the club section, I went outside the doors and I saw that, of course, we was on the field goal. We was in field goal range. We kicked the field goal, dunk off the upright. We, of course, win 41-38. I, of course, hobble a little bit outside of NRG, but I feel so good because we are now division champs for the first time since 2008. And this is something that, as Titan fans, we've been waiting for about 4 to 5 years now, but we are not done yet. This is just part one. We play the Ravens, and we'll talk about that in another about 10 more minutes. Going to the playoffs, so we'll talk about that a little bit more. I know y'all want to say something about my Titans, so go ahead, Mr. Piggyback Derrick Henry Dooley, since you want to talk about Derrick Henry so much.
I mean, good job, X. You guys beat one of the top 5 worst teams in the league. Okay, how many wins do the Texans have?
Thank you, Dooley. Thank you. They have 3 wins. Thank you, though, Dooley.
Oh, good job, guys. You're off to the playoffs. Okay, good luck with Lamar. And we're going to see what it is. Like you said, we'll talk about the playoffs in a little bit. I really don't have much to say about this game. I just feel sorry for Deshaun Watson. That kid deserves better. That's about that.
All right. Let me get to the comments right quick. Dark Age 9117 on Twitch says, "I'm going to make a bold prediction for this playoffs this year, but I tend to make a very bold prediction that sometimes happens." All right. The Bills will win the Super Bowl this year against the Packers. Make a note of this. I said in 2020, Tampa and Los Angeles will be in the Super Bowl. Will be in the World Series we got, and it happens. So I'm calling Bills Packers Super Bowl this year. All right, we'll go ahead and mark that down, Dark Age.
Yes,
appreciate you for tuning into this show. This is the first time I've ever seen a comment from Dark Age, so I appreciate that. And we'll definitely take a note of that because that's very interesting. Bills Packers, I wouldn't mind seeing that. That'd be an interesting game. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ish, you got anything to say before we move on to the other AFC game?
I feel bad for Deshaun Watson. Please trade that man so he can go somewhere where he can actually have a team to play around him as opposed to this joke that is the Houston Texans organization.
I will say this, and if you go and check out Doug Gottlieb, I can't say his last name correctly, but
Gottlieb.
there you go. What he did say is he doesn't feel bad for Deshaun Watson because Deshaun Watson decided to sign that big contract that did not let. Hey, this is what he's saying. That did not allow the Houston organization to go out and go get other players or whatnot to help him as a team. I don't think that's very true, and I don't think that's very. I don't think that's something that you can put on Deshaun Watson because he was going to get his bag. You have to, of course, blame Bill O'Brien. That's the first person you have to blame with why the Texans are where they are. Exactly. Wiesenthal on Twitch says, I agree on a prediction, but the Packers will, in fact, be the champs. We will see as well on that one. All right, Jaguars and Colts. Of course, the Colts took care of the Jaguars, leaving the Jaguars' season record at 1-15. The Colts play the Bills, and again, we will get in that real soon. Do we see anything from the Colts in this game that can help you? Dooley, I'm talking to you, and see Ishmael's kind of tired of talking about the Colts. Do you see anything with the Colts moving forward that can might see pull off the upset against the Bills in the first round?
Well, I don't blame Ish. I really didn't feel like talking about this. I was hoping you didn't come to me. But,
shout out, my bad. I was gonna say shout out to Lorenzo Guy. He asked you why bro sitting there like that, like a statue. The reason why you're sitting there like a statue is because you're obviously tired of talking about these teams. But continue.
Yeah, so like I was saying, man, when it comes to the Jaguars versus the Colts, honestly, Phillip Rivers, like I said, he's not a playoff quarterback. He never was, never will be, So I got the young Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills taking care of business this weekend, okay? That's what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. Or should I say gentlemen, but then again, there may be ladies watching. So
we got women out here watching too. Trust me, we love everybody out here, men, women, all races, all everything. We want everybody to come and watch the show. Ish, you got anything to say about this little match?
No, I don't either. Have anything to say about this snooze fest. Man, move along.
All right, next topic.
I agree. All right, let's go ahead and get on to a matchup that disappointed me a little bit because, of course, the Raiders show up when we don't want to pick them, and then when we do pick them, they don't show up. And just another classic case of the Raiders being the Raiders. Now, to be completely honest, the biggest story of this game is actually this morning with the news that come out about Josh Jacobs, unfortunately, getting arrested, a DUI charge. Apparently, he crashed his vehicle at the airport tunnel in Vegas. And had to get arrested. He got let out on bail. He has court March 8th. But for the Raiders to have this mediocre year and then for it to end the way that it just did with literally probably their best offensive player. I'm not even going to add Derek Carr. It's Josh Jacobs, their best offensive player. For that to happen, I mean, honestly, that's the Raiders' season in a nutshell right there. Honestly, right?
The Raiders had the most disappointing season this year, hands down. Not like we were just talking about the Cardinals being 8-8. The Raiders should have made the playoffs. Out the Raiders and the Cardinals, and that's hands down. The Raiders started 6-3. Okay, the Raiders are honestly, the fact the Raiders ended up 8-8 after being 6-3, that's typical Raider football. Okay, it's just so sad to me. Like, the Raiders were one team that should have made the playoffs that did not make the playoffs, but leave it up to the Raiders, huh? Good job beating the Broncos and last game of the season. Nobody cares.
I mean, I don't care about either of the Chiefs' stepchildren in this division. Drew Lock did perform well, so he put on his bag. He did his thing. But the reports are coming out that the Broncos are going to hire a GM. John Elway will stay the president of football operations, but they're going to hire a GM. So maybe things are looking up in Denver.
And I'm happy that you brought that up because, yes, I was going to talk about that as well. And we talked about that when it comes to John Elway not being as great of a talent evaluator as he thought he would be at the quarterback position. And it also goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars with Shad Khan. I heard him speak about how moving forward he was going to be in charge of the roster of the team. And I feel like people that have money, that are rich billionaires, they feel like whatever they touch can turn to gold. They don't even need to know anything. They can just be a part of it and it's going to be successful. Some of these owners need to seriously, like Jerry Jones, pay somebody to put that person in charge so they can take care of what they need to take care of for you, because y'all obviously don't know what the hell y'all are doing. And maybe John Elway may have woke up a little bit and said, you know what? I might have been wrong for the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 time, and let me put somebody else in there to know what the hell they're doing. So we have to wait and see. Weezy also asks, where can I get merch? I promise you,
We'll let y'all know.
Weezy, it will be coming out soon. I promise y'all. I got y'all. All right. Chargers and Chiefs. This game, of course, didn't go the way that we thought it was going to go, but because the Chiefs did sell a lot of their players out, it is what it is. Doesn't hurt the Chiefs. Chiefs, of course, still have the number 1 seed moving forward. In the AFC, everything runs through Arrowhead. So that'll be exciting to see how everything pans out with that. Dooley. Also, my bad. I apologize. Also, of course, the news that Anthony Lynn has been fired for the LA Chargers. That came out today as well, and that's something that I spoke on this show for the last 6 weeks, saying that Anthony Lynn was going to lose his job, and it is unfortunate that he did, because, and we'll let Ish speak after I'm doing, when it comes to, he feels like Anthony Lynn did not get enough time to adequately form this team the way he needed to. I agree, but when it comes to the NFL and wanting to win now, I look at the Chargers the same way I look at the Arizona Cardinals when it comes to, they drafted Josh Rosen, and they had their coach at the time. They got rid of that, and they started over with Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray. And I see the same thing happening with the Chargers when it comes to getting Justin Herbert, and they're going to get a coach in there that wants to coach Justin Herbert to his full potential.
It's my turn.
Yes, sir.
I'm disgusted with the Chargers. I am disgusted. Let me just read this little fact to y'all real quick. Lorenzo, yeah, you need some help, bro.
As long as you know, Lorenzo. Thank you for the puns.
Let me just read this that Adam Schefter tweeted out just yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Few coaches have had to overcome more players lost to injury than Chargers Anthony Lynn. Entering the game yesterday, the Chiefs, Chargers, and players projected to start on the opening day have combined to miss 109 games. The Chargers players that were projected to start this season have combined to miss 109 games. That's one of the highest totals in the league. This man was given a team, and then the team disappeared on him. Not because of him, because everybody got hurt, COVID, whatever. He had no team, and they still managed to do what they did. They were, 7-9? And you get rid of this man who just a couple years ago had your team at 12-4 with Phillip Rivers, who we were just talking about is not a playoff quarterback, and we have seen this. Like, this is exactly the problem with some of these organizations. You got a guy that if you give him the time, they're going to do what they need to do. The fact that they were 7-9 despite all the injuries this year should be a testament to how he prepares his teams to come out and play. And not to mention they finished the season with 4 straight wins. So what are y'all asking for over here? He's finishing strong. That's what you want to see from a guy. Give him the chance to move into the next season. But no, you get rid of him. Why? Because you're going to try to go get some quarterback guru or some offensive coach from somewhere, whatever. I'm disappointed in this move. I thought he did enough to retain his job at least for one more season, even with some of the mistakes that were made to cost them games earlier in the season. I'm disappointed. I'm disgusted. The Chargers, you're going to continue to be stepchildren in the division anyway, so nobody really cares.
I don't agree with being stepchildren.
They're stepchildren. Them and the other 2 stepchildren, I don't even care about them.
I got you, but I will say this. The Chargers at least have their quarterback. They have ones where everybody get back off of injury. They have some decent defense.
Denver said that
they
too.
Look, Denver's a different situation. At least Denver has gone to Super Bowls too over the last 15 years as well. So at least they can hang their hat on that. The Chargers, at least they're moving. It looks like they're moving in the right direction with what they have on the field. At least we have to wait and see when it comes to the new coach they bring in. What happens with that? And again, we'll talk about that shortly as well with new coaches and OCs making moves. Dooley, you have anything to say about this game before we move forward?
Next topic.
Alrighty then, Saints v Panthers. Of course, Saints took care of the Panthers 33-7. The biggest thing about this game, to be honest, is Teddy Bridgewater. Yep, and I know you were waiting on that.
Man.
Teddy Bridgewater got hurt, and PJ Walker had to come and fill in for Teddy Bridgewater, and that's something we have to look at moving forward, is what the Carolina Panthers as an organization going to do with the makeup of their team, and it all starts with the owner. What are they going to do with the GM? And the GM, what are they going to do with the coach? And then whoever coach they bring in, what are they going to do with the actual coach coaching the team? So it's going to be a lot of question marks for that Panthers organization moving forward. The Saints, of course, took care of business. The biggest question marks I have for the Saints is what are they going to do moving how are they going to move their offense along with a hurt Drew Brees in the playoffs? That is my questions I have with the Saints. Dude, let's go ahead and start you off.
No. Well, honestly, as far as like the Saints go, the fact they have a great defense is something Drew never really had. Drew never really had, even though the year Drew won the Super Bowl, they had a good defense. But the fact they have a great defense, it hurts me because Drew's hurt. So it's like, what chance do they really have based off the defense alone? But man, I really don't know about the Saints. It's funny. They're such a wild card because they have the best defense in the playoffs and on the NFC side, I think. Or top 2, top 3?
No.
I mean, you tell me. You tell me.
It's the Rams, then the
Buccaneers
football team, and then the Saints.
Okay. See,
so we disrespecting the Buccaneers defense?
See, I knew they were up there.
Yeah, whatever.
I knew they were up there. And see, and that's another thing. The Buccaneers have a top defense in the playoffs. We weren't discussing that
because you didn't know about it. So how are we going to discuss something you don't know about?
I mean, hey.
When you come on a sports plug, you better go do your research before you come on here, son.
That's what you. Hey. Well, then why are you guys denying the Buccaneers damn near winning the whole NFC?
Again, no, they're not, because they go to Lambeau and they from a warm weather state and they come up to Lambeau. We gonna wait and see, Dooley. We ain't gonna give people nothing on paper. We don't do that around here. We don't do that right here. You go play the game.
No warm weather team has ever beat a hot weather team. Is that what
I ain't say that? I didn't say that. What I said is we gotta wait until they play the game.
Okay. Here y'all go.
Here Dooley go.
And no. See, you make the call. You gotta wait till they play. I'm telling you right now that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going. If that matchup ends up happening, the Packers don't want that.
And if they lose, and if Tampa lose to a Washington football team in Week 1, then what?
You mean in the playoffs? In the playoffs?
Yes, in Week 1. Yes, in the playoffs. Then shut your mouth, because that's what's gonna happen. Shut your mouth. That's gonna happen.
The Washington football team will not beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's not happening.
All right. We're going to wait and see. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the playoff matchups, because I know, let's be real, I think we're all tired of having to talk about these irrelevant teams that don't matter anymore, because we are now finally in the first week of Super Wild Card Weekend. The first time this has ever happened in NFL history. We all want to be witnessing history on Saturday and Sunday. 3 wild card games each day, Saturday and Sunday, starting at 1 o'clock. First game first, of course, is the Colts at Buffalo. Will be on CBS. We will have our picks on Saturday. We'll do a show, Ish and I, and Dooley as well. If he's able to join us, we'll do a show at around 10 o'clock on Saturday. It'll be about a 30-minute show to discuss our picks, and then we'll do a recap show on Monday to talk about the postseason games as well on Monday. And for this game, Ish, let's go ahead and start you off. Matt, what are we looking for in this game?
I mean, really what you're looking for in this game is you're looking to see, is Phillip Rivers going to be consistent enough, and is he going to have the poise to be able to play in Buffalo against that defense? It's a pretty decent defense. And then what can that Indianapolis defense, who I think is flying a little under the radar, what can that defense do against Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and, this really high-powered Buffalo offense. That's really the matchups that you're looking at. The main matchup, though, I think is going to be that Indianapolis defense against Josh Allen in that offense. I think that's the main matchup that really is going to tell who's going to win this game.
Dooley?
Man, honestly, I'm just that much confident that the Buffalo Bills are winning, going back to the cold weather thing, and going back to the Phillip Rivers thing, because I have faith in Tom Brady winning in cold weather anywhere. But Phillip Rivers, who's been a San Diego quarterback, San Diego, California, arguably the best weather in the world, coming from a Californian, he has no chance out there in Buffalo. Okay, the Buffalo Bills are going to win the ball game. Oh, yeah, like I said, I'll tell you my prediction later on the show on Saturday.
Yes, sir. That sounds like Dooley's going to join us on Saturday then. Don't forget about us, Dooley.
Absolutely.
All righty then. So we're going to save our picks for Saturday. We're just going to discuss these games and discuss also what we hope to see in these upcoming games. For me, honestly, I think Buffalo should win by at least 10 points. But I'll say this. If the Colts can come in with a running game plan, use Jonathan Taylor, milk the clock, do not give the ball to Buffalo, because when Buffalo Bills get the ball, they can do whatever they want with it. They can throw, they can run, they can pretty much do whatever they want. So you have to, of course, do that Peyton Manning type of offense on them, which is you keep your offense on the field and make sure that Josh Allen stays on the bench as much as you possibly can. Milk that clock. Make sure those third down conversions are 3 yards and less, and that is going to give you a higher percentage of winning this game than if you go out there and try to throw the ball 45 times with Phillip Rivers. That's just how I see it. All right, let's go ahead and get on to the second game of that Saturday slate. Rams at Seattle, 4:40 p.m. on Fox. This is one of two divisional matchups that we have for this playoff weekend. Do we see the Rams taking care of business at Seattle, or do we see Seattle being able to, and of course we're not going to make picks now, but do we see Seattle holding their own at home with, again, remember, no fans, just the weather, or if they do have fans, won't be as loud, because that's something that Seattle holds on to tremendously, is their home field advantage from the 12th man. So do we see that Seattle would be able to use their own team without having to worry about the fans to be able to beat the Rams?
No. I mean, yes, the Seattle Seahawks will win this weekend. Honestly, you got to understand the Rams. One thing that people aren't talking about, people are talking about, but we haven't brought it up yet today, is Goff just came off a thumb injury.
Yes.
His thumb surgery, So when you got Goff being hurt, who are they going to have at the helm? Is Goff going to be 100%? It's just so many questions the Rams have there that the Seahawks don't have. You know what I mean? When it comes to Russell Wilson. So in my opinion, but even at full strength, Russell Wilson is a better quarterback than Jared Goff. So you got the better quarterback on one side. You got the better coach on one side. That pretty much sums it up for me,
Yeah, I think you both touched on it. The key to this game is going to be Jared Goff returning from that injury. How is he going to play? They also have Cam Akers, who's going to be playing. He did not play in Week 16 when they previously met, and the Seahawks beat the Rams. So that is something different. It's just another piece in that backfield to help Jared Goff out. So that is really the X factor. Jared Goff, how is he going to play? Because I still have faith. The defense did pretty well against Seattle, even in that loss in Week 16. DK Metcalf only had 59 yards. So Jalen Ramsey once again locked him down. And I think to expect the same. I think Jalen Ramsey comes out, locks him down. I think Aaron Donald turns it up to a different gear. I expect that defense to play really well. It's just going to all depend on whether or not we have faith that Jared Goff, coming off that thumb injury, is going to be able to do what he needs to do to get that offense moving and scoring points against that Seattle team, which the defense is ripe for the taking, to be honest.
We also have to remember these two teams split their season series matchup, and I also brought up when they played the second time, Week 16, that surprisingly Sean McVay, very few coaches have Pete Carroll's number with being 5-3 as the Rams head coach against Pete Carroll. we have to wait and see, of course, how everything plays out, and we'll wait until Saturday to make the picks. But that will be a very interesting game. What's up, dude?
No, I just wanted to say one last thing. Going back to earlier, I got to go back to your statements earlier. This is for Ish, really. Even though you kind of agreed, you were flip-floppy on this, X.
What's up?
I just wanted to let you guys know. You wonder why the Cardinals didn't make the playoffs. They got 2 other seasoned veteran teams in their division that are playoff teams.
We understand that, but there could have been a third team. They could have been the third team to make it.
The Ravens, Browns, and the Steelers.
The Steelers, exactly. So let's not.
The NFC is a little more competitive than the AFC.
No, it is not. Again, you must not have been paying attention. Dooley. There are 8 teams in the AFC that have 10+ wins. Every team in the AFC has at least 11 wins.
Right.
Okay,
hold on. Washington won their division though. That's why they got in the playoffs.
Duh.
Right.
And water is wet.
Right. No, but anyways,
that's the only way that they got into the playoffs.
Right. No, but going back to what I'm saying is the Arizona at 8-8, it wasn't a disappointing season. Their division's not trash. They come from a great place. That's all I'm saying.
But another thing we also have to remember too, Dooley, is if the 49ers did not have all their injuries, they might not be 8-8. They could be 7-9, 6-10, because they could have lost more games. I'm sorry, I don't know if they swept them or not. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they usually could have.
The 49ers. They lost one.
Okay, well, 49ers, if they want to, they probably could have swept them if the 49ers were at full strength.
Last year, wasn't this the best division in the league?
It still is the best division.
Yes, and we can still say it is the best. Yeah,
Cardinals a break with the young.
You talk to Ish about that. I feel like it's a good building year for them, and me and Ish can disagree, but we'll talk about that another time. We got about 10 minutes. Hey guys, we got about 10 minutes to wrap up this show. We'll talk more about it another time, but let's go ahead and wrap this up with this night game on Saturday. Buccaneers at Washington, of course. Your team, Dooley, the Washington football team, play against Thomas Brady at 8:15 on NBC, so you already know our guy Chris Collinsworth will be calling that game. And here's a guy like our boy Tom Brady, who has been in the playoff. It seems like half of his life, just being in the playoffs. And here he is yet again, be playing in Washington. We don't know how this will go. Everything on paper might look like Buccaneers' way, but we have to wait and see how everything plays, Dooley.
No, we will. I'm not gonna lie. I can't just roll out the Washington football team. I just don't like their chances, and I don't like their chances dramatically. It's not even like and I don't like them to the point that I don't feel like they have a chance. The chance is so minuscule. Because of Tom Brady. I just imagine his poise and. How are we going to be able to guard those receivers? You could say that's the best receiving corps in the league.
You could. Oh, yeah, you definitely could.
Mike Evans, Gronkowski.
Oh, yeah, you definitely could. No.
You got Godwin burning people up and down the field. It's the best receiving corps in the NFL.
The only other team, of course, that would want to make an argument would be the Chiefs.
What? The Chiefs.
I said it would be the Chiefs, yes.
Right. So Alex Smith, you got after that leg injury. I don't know if you guys saw that E360, by the way. But
come on now, you already know I did.
Exactly. Ish, did you see that by any chance?
Yeah.
It's like you kind of see that he's scared now. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have the same energy he did. He knows to get down. You don't want that out of your quarterback. You know what I mean? Like Alex Smith, to be honest, him coming back from that was very remarkable. That's actually one of the most remarkable things I've seen in sports.
I mean, he's easily comeback player of the year, easily.
Right. Period. I haven't seen anything more remarkable than that. But I think Alex Smith is done as a quarterback. I think the Redskins need a new young guy out there.
Besides Dwayne Haskins.
Better than Haskins.
Strip club Haskins.
Strip club
right.
Haskins.
Yeah. He didn't prove enough. Basically, what happened to Haskins was he just didn't feel like he felt like he was bigger than what he really was.
I agree. I agree.
You got to be humble when you get into the NFL. He still would have been on the team today. If Alex Smith goes down, Haskins, the record could have been like, Haskins winning a playoff game.
Yeah.
That's what
That's what could have happened.
This is true. This is true.
You know.
Well, we'll never know. And Ish, you want to finish this up before we move on to the next?
I think there are just two things that I like from Washington's standpoint. I agree with everything y'all have already said, except for the fact that I do think you can't discount Alex Smith and his professionalism and what he brings as far as experience to that team and knowing how to get to playoff games and his time with the Chiefs and with the 49ers. I think that's a big key for that team. Also, I like the fact that Chase Young, after the game, is saying, I want Tom Brady, we coming, because I need that kind of mentality. You're going to have that kind of mentality to play against this offense and hope to do something.
The Washington football team have nothing to lose. You're supposed to come out. You're supposed to come out there with your hairpin back and come out there firing and just go out there play. Look, the same way I feel about this game, the same way I felt about the Titans playing against the Texans yesterday, going kicking field goals and not going for it on fourth down. Texans, y'all are not playing for anything. Go out there and go upset the Titans, and they should have did it, but they did not. And that's something that the Washington football team is going to have to. You have Riverboat Ron Rivera as their head coach. Would not be surprised if we see some fourth down conversions. Would not be surprised to see some trick plays. So let's just wait and see how that game goes. Yep. All right, Ravens at Tennessee. This will be our first game on Sunday. Ooh. Be the one and only game on ESPN. Yes. Ooh, the rematch from last season, Lamar Jackson's divisional playoff game that he lost to. And to be completely honest, I'm a little worried about the Tennessee Titans playing against the Baltimore Ravens, a rejuvenated and a reloaded Baltimore Ravens mindset of what happened last year. And with them, let's all remember what happened last year with Lamar Jackson and Mark Ingram coming into the postseason with their little sayings with what was it, the little saying that they were doing. I can't remember off the top of my head, but just having a ball and not really taking things seriously until they ran into a team like the Titans that made them realize that, hey, it ain't fun in games anymore. So with that being said, I think the Ravens really felt that all offseason and coming into this playoff game, and the Ravens are going to be ready to upset the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I still like the Ravens as a team, just like I liked them last year, though.
There we go. Thank you, Lee. There we go. Big trust. There we go. That crap. Thank you, Lee.
You know, and they lost. You know, I liked the Ravens last year, and they lost. I like them this year, and they could lose. You know, like I said, you got a 2,000-yard back over there. If Derrick Henry gets rolling, if he gets rolling, they're done. Unless the only way they're not done is if Tannehill on the back end messes it up somehow. When they play action or Tannehill's passes, he can totally mess up the game, you know? But how can you when you got Henry running? Now, if you don't have Henry, and I'm not going to lie, since they're both running teams, it's going to come down to this. Which side of the ball can hold it more? Can the Ravens keep Derrick Henry off the field? Can Derrick Henry keep Lamar off the field? You know? That's what it's gonna happen. That's what it's gonna come down to, you know.
I like that.
As far as it's gonna be a slobber knocker. You know, I like the Ravens right now. Come Saturday morning, though, my pick may change.
We'll see.
I think the key is that Oilers defense. The games that they've lost this year have been a result of the Oilers defense giving up too many points early on, and then them having to try to find a way back. And sometimes they made it back and they just missed it because of, a missed field goal, or they just ran out of time because, they do run the ball a lot. It is a run heavy team, but you're discounting Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill has made a lot of plays, and he does have two really big, fast receivers on that outside, not to mention Jonnu Smith, who X likes to bring up as well as tight end. I think that they can pass the ball. They really can pass the ball as well. They don't just rely on Derrick Henry. The key, though, is that Derrick Henry does do a lot, and he helps them. And if they give up too many points to this Ravens offense early on, it could spell trouble for them. That is the key. The key is if that defense is able to at least hold its water a little bit early in the game. If they are not, then that's where they're gonna live and die. Really, they're gonna die if they give up too many points early to Lamar Jackson, and then Lamar Jackson in the Baltimore offense just continues to run the ball. Whether or not they're successful, as long as they put points up early, they can win the game just by putting points up early. Like, that's the key. put the points up early, and then it don't matter after that.
I agree with Ish just saying. If Baltimore can get up 14, 21 points on the Titans in the first quarter, it throws our running game out the window for a little bit to where we have to throw the ball, and that eliminates what you do on first down. First down is a very important down because, especially for a team like the Titans that like to run and also play action off of that run on first down, if you are up 14, 17 points, we know what's coming. You ain't gonna run the ball. We ain't gonna play the run, so we just gonna back our linebackers up and force you to pick us apart. Ryan Tannehill honestly cannot do that without a reliable running game. So what Derrick Henry does, Derrick Henry makes Tannehill better. Tannehill makes Derrick Henry's job a little bit easier because you can't put 8, 9 in the box like they used to do with Mariota and Derrick Henry. So I agree with everything that Ish is saying. We just have to wait and see how this game goes. If it's close, Titans should win. If the Ravens can get on the Titans, hey, it's gonna be interesting to see. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up these games right quick. Bears at New Orleans, 4:40 on CBS. I'm excited for this game because I want to see how the Bears defense match up with this offense. And Ish, you talked about this a little bit earlier. I don't think the Bears can win, but if they can keep New Orleans offense to a 20-point pace, then maybe the Bears have an opportunity to maybe put up some points. This is in the Dome. We're not playing in Chicago. So I think the Bears might have an opportunity to pull off an upset, but it's going to have to take the whole team to do this.
I definitely think this is the most viable upset here. I think the way that the Bears played against the Packers in Week 17, they can hang with some of these teams. They just need, Mitchell Trubisky and that offense to also show up. And I think that, the Bears defense is definitely going to be there. They're going to show up. The question is going to be, as per the usual, will that offense be able to keep pace with New Orleans? Because the thing about the New Orleans offense, I don't know that you necessarily stop that offense, but I think you can slow them down with the defense. And if you can slow them down enough that your offense hangs around and is able to kind of stay with them, then you have a really good shot. And I think that of all the teams in first round matchups, I think this matchup is probably the most viable outside of the Cleveland matchup, which I think that to me isn't really a huge upset or like anything, because I think with divisional teams like that, they're a little closely matched.
I agree.
Same way I feel about the Rams and stuff. So to me, the true upset would be this upset, and I could see it happening if Mitchell Trubisky and that offense is able to hang around.
I agree. Dooley?
It's not happening.
The dramatic pause. Thank you, Dooley.
Yeah, it's not happening. I love your soliloquy-ish, Xavier, sports plug, my guy. I love it. But if this is like one of those games where if you had to bet your money on any game this week,
it ain't gonna be this one.
It's not gonna be this.
It ain't gonna be this one.
Please.
It would be Buffalo beating the Colts. It would not be this one.
I was trying.
You're dry. How about we wait and see after Sunday's over with? After the weekend's over with, which one of the games that you bet? And we'll talk about that on Saturday. One game that we bet on who we expect to win no matter what, and we'll talk about that on Saturday as well. We'll add that in as well. But finish, Dooley. I apologize.
Yeah, no, it's all good. We're all gonna have our picks. And we're gonna see who knows football and who does not.
All right, here you go.
And that's that.
You're gonna be real upset when your ass don't know no football too.
It's all good, man. Whatever happens, happens.
All right, Ish, you got anything else about this before we move on? All right, let's go ahead and wrap up these playoffs, Super Wild Card Weekend with the Browns and Pittsburgh. And to be honest with you, this is probably going to be one of the better games too. Appreciate them for putting this game on to end Super Wild Card Weekend, because this is another divisional matchup with two teams that do not like each other. And like we talked about before, the Browns beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in Cleveland only by 2 points this past week. They have to go back to Pittsburgh and play let's be real, a motivated Pittsburgh team, especially with an old Big Ben, because he only have a couple of years maybe left in the tank. And also, I think the Steelers want to show everybody that we are, even though we were gone for a little bit, we're still here and we're still the Steelers. So I think this game is honestly more, and you might think I'm weird for saying this. I think it's more important for the Steelers than it is for the Browns, because I think nobody expected the Browns to be where they're at. So if they win, it's like, oh, yay, what a surprise. But we don't take them seriously still, because let's be real. I mean, we keep trying to take the Browns seriously, but then they lose a game. We're like, oh, there goes the Browns. But now they are where they are at right now, and we still kind of like, oh, they're gonna lose to the Steelers. Like it's the Steelers, right? So if the Steelers win, I think it is a more important game for the Steelers to win, because if they lose, I think question marks start popping up in Pittsburgh on, do we really believe in this team moving forward with Tomlin? I don't think Tomlin's job is under fire. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying moving forward, Big Ben is not going to be there. They need to get a solid quarterback to replace Big Ben, and they need to figure out what they're going to do with this team moving forward without Big Ben.
I mean, I think this is the best matchup the Browns could have got. Only from the standpoint of they have a really good rushing defense. The Steelers have the last place rushing offense. It bodes well for them because it helps with their one weakness, that secondary. That's the key to the game. Is that secondary going to come ready to play against this receiving core who drop a lot of balls? And honestly, they have been up and down all season. Chase Claypool, everybody jumped on him for a little bit, and then he disappeared. And then he pops
I
back
told
up.
y'all don't do that. I told
So
y'all.
the question is that secondary going to show up? But even if they don't early on, the fact that the Steelers do not run the ball, if the Steelers get up, you can't even feel comfortable because they can't run the ball. So they're not running the clock down. So you have to think from a Brown standpoint, this is the perfect game for you. This is your game to come out here and shock the world. It's all set up for you. You play them a third time. You just beat them this past week. You got a little bit of a mental edge, some might say, if you believe in that sort of thing, even with people being sad. But I think if you come out, you establish the run, you help Baker Mayfield run some play action, Jarvis Landry make a couple plays, Myles Garrett give Big Ben hell, you may have the recipe to win this game. I think that secondary, they need to have a meeting, look within themselves, and really say, guys, we got to step it up because this is our game to lose. Because I think it is that secondary's game to lose. If the secondary doesn't show up, expect the Steelers just go on and run all over and have a merry time. If that secondary shows up, we could be in for a really, really good game.
Well, that's based off that secondary showing up. That's going to be based off one thing and one thing's only the man named Myles Garrett. Getting around the corner, giving Big Ben a problem all day, But honestly, I was just thinking about something. We had discussed this earlier. And you know how I had said I had the Browns. But to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to lean towards the Steelers. I just looked up something. They may have the last rushing offense in the league. The Steelers have the number 3 defense in the league. I didn't see that, So that changes things for me dramatically because Baker and them are going to have hell trying to push the ball. You get what I'm saying? So if they can somehow take advantage of the defense, don't get me wrong. If the Steelers defense comes to play, I got them winning. If their defense does not come to play, it's looking ugly. If Baker and them can establish a way to keep Ben Roethlisberger off of the field, they will up their chances dramatically. That's all I got to say about that.
No problem. No, I definitely understand where both of y'all coming from. I do agree on both of y'all's points of view. It's going to be very interesting to see. I don't really have anything else to say anymore on these playoff games. I'm just excited, man. We're finally here. Like I said all the time, unfortunately, about football, it's a long season, but it's very short. It comes and goes like seasons, right? And with that being said, we appreciate everybody for tuning in to the first annual weekly recap of the NFL season on the Sports Plug, and thank everybody for tuning in all season long. And we'll be back next season to recap, of course, regular season, postseason games. And hey, guys, it's playoff time. It's time to get serious. We'll see everybody on Saturday. Actually, we'll change the time to 9 o'clock because I just remembered I do have to go to work a little bit earlier. So we'll be back Saturday morning at 9 o'clock here on the Sports Plug. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. See you guys